video alert. Random video alert. This video wasn't completely intended for me to do, but I want to do this video, and I think it's very necessary for me that I do this video. So a couple weeks ago, I seen this guy that I went to school with, and I haven't seen him in I don't know, 10 plus years. It's been a long time since I've seen this guy. But he seen me at 7-Eleven, and he like I didn't even see him at all, but he seen me, and he comes walking over to me, and as he got closer, I started to recognize who he was. And I thought to myself, like, holy fuck, he looked bad. Like, he looked homeless. I mean, he did not look good at all. And he comes over, and he just starts talking about how he was trying to get home, or he was trying to find somewhere to sleep, something like that, and that he was hungry. So he asked me to buy him something to eat. But as I'm like talking to him, I noticed that he was like missing teeth, or at least that one of his front teeth for sure. I know he was missing. So I went and got him something to eat, and that was that. And clearly he's obviously either currently on some type of drug, or he is recovering from something. And I remember leaving 7-Eleven, like driving off, and I was like, damn, what is he on? Like, he's got to be 32, 33. I don't think he was older than me, but if he was, he's only like 34, but I don't think he's older than me. And I just remember thinking, like, what kind of drug is he on? Like, what is going on out here? What is really going on? But what was more scary about the situation, and I just want to say that I'm not judging him. I'm not judging him at all. It was just frightening. It was very scary to see him. Like, he was in really bad shape, and it was scary to see him like that, because it was like a realization for me of how far I've come in my own personal life. And that's why it's super necessary for me to do this video, for me and hopefully for somebody else, honestly, because I had a run with drugs, and it did get pretty bad for me at one point, especially like after my mom died and after my dad died. It got really bad for me, to the point where I was losing weight, and I didn't want to be sober at all. But anyway, I want to talk about that in more detail. So, I've never been the type of person that would involve myself with drugs. So I drank. I was a big drinker. Like, I loved to drink. I loved going out. I loved partying. I loved to drink. But as far as like street drugs and things like that, like, I didn't even smoke weed. It wasn't for me. My mom and dad did drugs my entire life. They smoked crack. So I was just not with it. Like, I feel like drugs ruined my family, and it ruined my parents' lives, and ultimately led to their death. So I was just not with it. But in 2013, as my grandfather was passing away, he was in a nursing home, and I don't know, I was really afraid to lose him. My grandpa was a very strong figure in my life, and to lose him, it felt like my roots were being ripped from the ground. Like, I was afraid of losing my grandpa. And it was presented to me about Molly's by a woman I was dating at the time. And so I think I heard of Molly's, but I never did them before. So I did. We did a Molly, and I mean, that was it. Like, we did that, and I mean, it was fine at the time. Like, I didn't feel like I needed to do it again or anything like that at the time. But I kind of forgot about something. So prior to that, I did try cocaine a couple times, like twice. I don't know. I wanted to for some reason. This was before my grandpa was in a nursing home or anything like that. I wanted to try it, and I did. And I never felt nothing off of it. So I was like, well, fuck that. That's stupid. It felt like a waste. So anyway, I did the Molly in 2013. Then my grandpa passed away. And the Molly thing became more frequent. I started doing it more, like, on weekends, just to kind of party or whatever. I started doing it like that. And then throughout the time, I had lost a cousin, and again, I was doing Molly's, and I seem to have had it under control. From Molly's led to, from Molly's, I ended up starting to take Vicodins, Percocets, and Oxy. Wasn't really taking Oxy that much. I did a few of them, but that wasn't really my thing. I did the Percs and the Vicodins a lot. So I wasn't doing Molly's anymore, but then I had moved on to the Percocets. And I started doing those like all day long. And this started happening like, I think I started doing this before my mom died, because my mom used to get Oxys, and she started she would give me some. They weren't that high of a prescription, I think maybe 10 milligrams. But then she stopped giving them to me because she was afraid of addiction. But I was already doing Percocets and things like that. So I think I was doing Percocets when my mom was alive. And then after my mom died is when, like, my entire mental, like, just crashed. And I started doing Percocets like crazy. It was like an all-day thing. I was popping them. I remember I was popping like 5 at a time. Vicodins. I was buying them off the street. Like, I was just doing them like all the time. I don't want to say I was hooked on them, but I guess in a way I was, because I wanted to be high. And then sometime later, 8 months or so, my dad ended up passing away too. And I believe at that point, or I dibbled and dabbled a little bit before my dad died, but after my dad died, I got real heavy with cocaine. And I started doing cocaine, not crack, coke. I didn't smoke crack, but I started doing coke like pretty frequently. And I would go from coke and Molly's. I don't know if I prefer one over the other. But I was doing them both. Like, there was a point where I was doing, it was either a gram or 2 grams of Molly's like a day. Like, I think it was 2 grams. I think I was doing 2 grams of Molly's a day. And I was doing that pretty frequently. And then the coke, I was doing that. And like, it got really bad for me. I started losing weight. I started losing a lot of weight, to the point where people could actually notice. Like, you know, people would say to me, oh, you're losing weight, like you're losing all this weight, what are you doing? But when I looked in the mirror, or just when I looked at myself, it didn't look like I was losing weight. I seemed fine. But yeah, it got bad to that point. I mean, I was to the point where parenting was really rough. I can honestly say I didn't care much about being a mother. I pretty much did the bare minimum as a parent. Like, I wasn't a bad mom, but I definitely wasn't the mom that I was. I was different. Like, I kept my son in doing his regular things and stuff like that, and getting him up for school, and he always played football. But I wasn't the same. And I distanced myself a lot. Like, I didn't want to deal with him at all. I don't even know if he remembers this. And really, unless you were like there, like at the time, my girlfriend, she would have known. She did know, but she didn't give a fuck because she was already a bum and she didn't take care of her own kids, so she damn sure didn't care about me taking care of mine. But unless you were like there in my face, you really didn't notice all these things, because to the public eye, I had it all together. But I know that there was a time where I was really sucky as a mom. So yeah, I was just really bad. I had gotten really bad with drugs, and my mental changed so bad, as far as like depression and anxiety and just feeling worthless and just not having anything going for myself anymore. Like, everything was about getting high. Everything was about getting high. Like, I sold stuff out of my house. I never told anybody this, but I'm not gonna say the place that this happened at, but I cut copper pipes out of this place and was selling them for drugs. Like, this is funny now, but at the time it was really sad. Like, it was sad. But yep, cut copper pipes out of this whole apartment building and sold them to get high. It was just it was bad. And that went on for that was about, I don't know, that started in 2013, like I said, with the Mollies, and then like the middle or so of 2015 is pretty much when I stopped. I had got evicted. My girlfriend left us. My wife at the time, we had got married, so she was my wife. At the time, she had left me and my son, and we had got evicted out of our apartment. And we had to move to Gettysburg into a homeless shelter. And once I did that, I missed the whole like 2 months, because I was actually homeless, like in Harrisburg, sleeping on couches for a couple weeks before I actually moved to Gettysburg. But then once I moved to Gettysburg, and I was doing Molly's and Coke at the time when I was sleeping on couches really bad. And I didn't have my son. I had given my son to his dad because I didn't want to drag him through all that with me. And then after a couple weeks, is when I actually decided that I couldn't do this anymore. Like, I couldn't live the way that I was living anymore. And I think all of that stemmed from, like, I was somebody, and I knew that I was somebody, and I knew that, that I could be better than what I was. You know that saying, when you know better, you do better? Well, that came into play. Like, I knew that I was a better person than what I was, and I didn't have my son, and that didn't sit right with me at all. That boy's my world, and for me not to have him with me, close to me, by my heart, that didn't sit right. I couldn't live like that. So I did end up going to Gettysburg, to the only homeless shelter that had space at the time. And when I left, I didn't take anything with me. I didn't plan on doing any drugs when I was down there. And I didn't. I think once I did do, like, I think it was Molly's once. I don't know.